Welcome back to the Digital Ledger channel, everybody. This is my backup channel for digital perspectives. I wanted to put together like an XRP news video because I've been covering a lot of stuff today, the Digital Chamber of Commerce, a lot of other stuff I was covering this morning. And I just wanted to do like an XRP news, what's happening today, and see if we can't get it done in under like 12, 15 minutes here. So you guys might appreciate that. But anyway, what I did want to do is start off the welcoming back of the Digital Ledger channel with the trailer from Cryptonaire's. Shout out to Dustin Planthold and Mike Jansen, who is crushing right now in post-production. Believe me, if you knew how much we've gone through, 60, 70 interviews, and it has just been remarkable. Here is a little 2-minute, 45-second shot of the sizzle reel that gives you the backstory of what this film is going to be about when we finish. Here we go.
Cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP. What are they? And what is this emerging marketplace that has been gaining a foothold for over the last decade?
Life becomes so amazing because you realize that all the rules in life can be rewritten. All the systems around us were built by people no smarter than us. Everything that we have, we inherited. And we inherited from people who had significantly less than we do in terms of technology and information and so forth. So there's really no reason our life should be governed this way and controlled this way. So the primary motivation is saying, how much can we change the system?
Some people believe it is the next .com era, the new age of the Internet of Value.
This is just like the internet in 1980s. So you definitely need to get on the ship right now.
The Libra moment, at the very least, really forced people to grapple with the incoming future of financial technology and the fact that there are growing capabilities to create different kinds of market infrastructures that allow for new ways to view not just how we move money, but to redefine what money is.
And has captivated the financial markets and big thinkers like nothing we have ever witnessed or like never before.
It's exciting. I think a lot of real world projects are now wanting to come to list. When I say real world, like boring existing companies, not crypto companies that now want to have tokens. Boring bank or a boring property development company that people have heard of that are publicly listed companies come and say, we want to list our utility token and we're now going to start to offer these to our clients and we'd like to list with you because you're a clean, regulated exchange. I think that's really interesting, and that's, I think, where you're going to see the market start to go.
Lived a life where I've never been able to turn off my brain. So for me to find an industry that welcomes it, I'm living exactly what I wanted to do. I've had enough careers where they said, go home, Coley, get a life. And this is my life. I am excited for this. So,
a chance to create generational wealth beyond our dreams. Join us as we take you through a journey of what was once like the Wild Wild West. Turbulent and unpredictable, but now intriguing and credible. Of what is quickly becoming a legitimate marketplace for investors of all kinds, from Wall Street to Main Street. There is but one question you have to ask. Who wants to be a Cryptonaire?
There it is. Shout out to Mike Jansen, who is just crushing on that film right now. And obviously, we still got a little ways to go, but you can't see it, but we're making huge progress. And I can tell you that. And it's going to be remarkable. I cannot wait. And I know everybody else on the team cannot wait too. So we'll keep you posted on that. Let's get right to the news today. Right here we go. Ripple major partners MoneyGram and Banco do Brasil ink new collaboration deal. It just keeps getting bigger, everybody. It just keeps getting bigger. And let's not stop there because there's a lot going on today with the Digital Chamber of Commerce. Daniel Gorfine, Chief Innovation Officer of the CFTC. Sound familiar? Let's listen to what he says because it aligns really heavily with the coverage that I had on the other channel, Digital Perspectives, of Brian Brooks and Jay Clayton and the heavy narrative that's going on today, coming from all of the big boys and girls in the regulatory agencies, is all about market infrastructure. It's all about a new financial payment system, financial service system. So let's listen right here what the remarks are from Daniel Gorfine.
Need, or do we want a central bank digital currency? What factors are driving this need?
Great. No, thank you. Actually, I think Jono did a great job in making the case for why we need a US CBDC. But before I even jump into that, though, I want to kind of pick up on something that Jay said and that Controller Brooks was mentioning, and that is a lot of this discussion around current innovation really is about infrastructure. It's about the plumbing of our financial markets and our financial services system. And if I were to drill down even further, I would argue a lot of this is really still about the internet and how it continues to flow through financial markets and services. What I mean by that is that the internet, as we know, connects computers. And the more you can automate the flow of information, whether it be emails or actual transactions of financial instruments and assets, the more we can automate and reduce the amount of friction or intermediaries involved in that process, the more you can drive lower costs, greater efficiency, perhaps greater resiliency. If we design it right, we may even solve for certain privacy concerns. So I think net, that's what this generation of innovation is really all about. Now, tokenization and blockchain play a really large role in that. The same way you can send an email halfway around the world to an individual with very low cost and few intermediaries, the same is true today about financial instruments and assets. You can tokenize them and send that unique ownership information halfway around the world with few intermediaries and low costs. So that's going to touch, I think, all types of financial instruments and assets, including money itself.
Including money itself. And I can't agree with him any more than he laid it down right there. And let's keep moving, because we know that we did see Jay Clayton and Brian Brooks talk today in another part of that conference. And it was pretty remarkable, because some of the heavy things that were touched on there was that Jay Clayton remarked that the framework we currently have in place for regulation is a time-tested framework. And Brian Brooks spoke to that notion as well. And Brian Brooks spoke to it in the regard that we don't want to have things put in place that are unnecessary, where regulatory agencies are essentially, and I'm paraphrasing, picking winners or losers because of what they choose to put in or put out. He also used another great analogy of the cell phone. When the cell phone was created, there wasn't a need to create this separate entity, regulatory agency. They simply let the FCC know what was going on. The FCC defined whatever they needed to for this new product, and off they went. And today we have many, many different types of providers and models of cell phones. What a great analogy in comparison to the blockchain crypto space. I tell you, Brian Brooks, and even Jay Clayton in this regard, have a very good vision of what needs to happen as they continue to roll out more clarity for all of us. Remember, just recently the SEC released a no action letter on security tokens and alternative trading systems. Now, this is enormous because, security tokens are going to be, I believe, a larger part of the market than what we see right now. I think it's going to just be massive. I mean, when you think about DeFi and security tokens, there's your larger parts of the market, okay? You're talking about decentralized finance, lending, and then you're talking about the idea of stocks, bonds, commodities, all of these things being tokenized and settled on a distributed ledger. There's the larger side of this. The market we're playing in right now is easy to see when you look at those things and that particular perspective. The market we're playing in right now is nothing but speculative. So it'll be exciting to see a lot of this begin to take a actual practical application and begin to settle, and to begin to have these offerings begin to come out, which we've already seen in some cases. We've seen Robinhood, right? We've seen Sologenic offer these things when it comes to fractionalized stocks and things of that nature, and tokenized stocks that can be bought in fractions. And this is where the market is truly going. Now, here's somebody who is really hit and getting with it, and it's SWIFT. And they understand, and they're moving into a low-value customer payments market here. Interbank messaging network SWIFT is to move into low-value remittance market, providing member banks with the means to make instantaneous transactions across borders for small and medium-sized companies and consumers. I want to highlight here that instantaneous transactions does not mean instantaneous settlement. Come on in. However, I do want to highlight that, with SWIFT GPI that they have in place there, and understanding that, Ripple has recently been brought on to the ISO 2022 standards body, which is a de facto global standard for modern payments. This is pretty remarkable news, because you see either through R3, which is partnered with SWIFT, that they could build, customers and clients can build on the Corda platform and choose to use XRP for settlement through the Corda settler, which is an option on the Corda platform. Or you could have SWIFT really move to the full ISO 2022 de facto global standard, which Ripple is to help them with when it comes to distributed ledger technology, and maybe even have direct settlement using XRP directly through RippleNet, which I believe will become ultimately, RippleNet, I believe personally, will ultimately become the digital settlement arm to SWIFT. So there we have that. Now, coming back to more market infrastructure and regulatory framework, this is in the regulatory framework world, the reminder that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau had recently in July passed the rule effective that SWIFT GPI and Ripple and XRP are effective for cross-border settlement for banks and credit unions, because for the first time in history, they'll be able to actually see the payment and the transaction and the cost of that transaction and the flow of where it's going to go before they actually accept the payment. That's how dysfunctional the payment system has been for so long. And, just to point out to that, it's because, decade after decade, year after year, something else would come out, and somebody in a company, in let's say a small medium enterprise, for example, grabs some new technology in 2010, right? But SWIFT is working with the same essential platforms and some upgrades on top, band-aids on top of it, of what they've had since 1973. So then you get all these many different year after year, layer after layer, decade after decade of these different platforms and different technologies that are a little more advanced than the year before that. This is how you arrive at a place where, here it is 2020, and we're just now seeing a rule made effective to where you can actually see the payment chain, who's involved in it, and what the cost is to you and the sender and receiver before actually accepting the payment for the first time in global payments. That's pretty remarkable. Okay, so moving forward here, let's go to this. So OCC released Bank Supervision Operating Plan for fiscal year 2021. Let's take a look at these quick little bullet points, because, we covered Brian speaking today. If you haven't seen that video of Brian and Jay Clayton on the Digital Perspective channel, I highly suggest you go watch that video. So the Office of Comptroller of Currency today released its Bank Supervision Operating Plan for fiscal year 2021. It says the supervisory strategies for the year are credit risk management, commercial and residential real estate, concentration risk management, allowances for loan, leases loss, and allowances for credit losses, cybersecurity and operational resilience, Bank Secrecy Act, anti-money laundering, and compliance management, compliance risk management associated with 2020 pandemic-related banking activities, Community Reinvestment Act performance, fair lending examinations, risk assessments, the impact of low-rate environments, and preparation for phase-out of London interbank offering rate. The LIBOR rate is being phased out. I believe they're going to go to the SOFR, if I'm not mistaken. So proper oversight of significant third-party relationships, change management over significant operational changes in payment systems, products, and services. Don't kid yourself 1 second. Payment systems involves distributed ledger technology, blockchain, and the potential use and settlement of something like XRP for payments and transactions. So keeping an eye on that as it unfolds. This is a diagram that I actually put together a few days ago on Digital Perspectives channel. And somebody out there in the crypto space grabbed a hold of the document and put the red boxes and the lines and the Ripple and the XRP logo. And I thought they did a really wonderful job, and I just wanted to thank them for making the diagram that much better. But this is a little global overview, and it's obviously not very detailed. There's some plenty of other countries that have got advancements. I just tried to grab the bigger countries out here that have had some really good motion when it comes to regulation around the world. And it starts at the top, and it's the trend that I've noticed from the Digital Perspective channel and my time in this space is that these things tend to start on an international level and then trickle and work their way down to the domestic or regional areas in the respective countries. So keeping an eye on all of these things, the G20, the World Economic Forum, you can see all of these things for yourself and the accomplishments that have been taking place. And it's pretty remarkable here when you see Consumer Financial Protection Bureau effective. They recommend Ripple and XRP as well as SWIFT GPI. On the international level, we see the IMF recommending XRP for cross-border settlement, suggests that FSOC, the Financial Stability Oversight Council, connected to the Treasury, deem them systemically important. Then we see recommended for settlement from the World Economic Forum, which was a paper that was written for Central Bank Digital Currency Policymaker Toolkit by Sheila Warren, who will be a keynote speaker at Swell in just a couple weeks. So keeping an eye on all of those things as we move forward. I did want to mention before we roll out of here, though, I did want to say that the European Central Bank applies for a digital euro trademark. Now, you don't suppose they're doing all that because they're not going to go through with any of this, do you? It's all about the market infrastructure, and I believe there's a lot more hooked up than any of us even realize, and that would suit me just fine. Now, one thing I did want to share is that I've been telling everybody about unstoppable domains. I've got a lot of unstoppable domains. I'm pretty much addicted to buying them. There will be a link in the description. It is the new .coms. In fact, it's freedom. It's digital freedom of speech 2.0 is what it is. It's freedom of speech 2.0. It is for digital buying a .com or .crypto domain name really gives you the ability to put whatever that is you want on that blockchain, and it's immutable. You ain't taking it down. So that to me is pretty remarkable, as well as being able to accept payment directly through that .crypto without having to give your personal information or share an intermediary in between the two. So it's pretty remarkable where things are going there. Make sure you check that out. I have been also trying to celebrate some people who have some pretty incredible .com names, but there's some new news here that's exciting, and it's Gemini. Gemini is now, the Gemini Exchange, the Winklevoss twins, are now offering custody to store your .crypto domains. This is a great feature for companies who don't want to deal with private keys, domain buyers who are worried about losing expensive domains. I myself have taken advantage of this, and I think it's a pretty cool idea to be able to take and get that worry off of my mind. I've actually put a couple with Gemini already, so that is exciting. Let me play this little teeny, I think it's 30 seconds or so, little explainer video. Buy your .crypto, continue, and then you have an option to add custody, $20 for 3 years. You check out, and there you go, and your crypto is just as safe as it ever was. I tell you something, I myself don't even trust me to set the stuff down because I can forget things. I get so busy doing other stuff. It's like, what did I do with that? I just had it. I can't even find my glasses half the time. So make sure you check that out, guys. That's going to do it for me. I just wanted to brush over the news really quickly. Keep it as short as I could. I think we're under 20, so there you go. Guys, have a great day. We'll catch all of you on the next one. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe and share with somebody you know. Take care.